Hey, you guys, welcome to another episode of the Slay the Spray podcast. This is your girl, Kelly Callaghan, and today we're going to be talking about some mindset stuff. So if you guys love mindset stuff, woo-woo, if you want some inspiration on how you can keep on going in your business, this episode is going to be for you. I love this topic because, I don't know, for me personally, I love like mindset stuff. I love resilience. I love talking about the dip story, about how I was, in the trenches, essentially going through a divorce and drinking myself to death, basically, after my divorce. I had a really, really hard time going through the process of figuring out that my ex-husband was not who he said he was. I found out he had a kid that he didn't tell me about prior to getting married to him, and that he had a severe pill addiction that he basically relapsed on our honeymoon in. So I had no idea of any of these things. He then went off to rehab, and I was trying to work on things. And unfortunately, he ended up sleeping with a married woman and getting her pregnant. So 9 months later, she ended up having my husband's baby. And I laugh about it now because it's just a crazy story. I'm like, this is insane that I actually even went through that. But I share that with you because it was one of the darkest times of my entire life. And I really, really finally felt like I trusted somebody in this world. I'd been let down so many times before, specifically by men ever since I was little. And I really just had a hard time trusting men. And he was the one person that like I really, really trusted. And so for me to go through that, and actually I'll rephrase that, to grow through that, it was quite the process, and it was quite unexpected. Everything happened so fast within literally like a month or two. And with all of that happening so quickly, seeing like what my dream life was becoming a complete and utter nightmare, and just everything was so fake and so not what I thought it was. Like, you really, I mean, I'm sure some of you guys have been through something similar. Maybe not to that extent, but like, divorce in itself or separation in itself is a it's a huge thing that I think a lot of people really struggle with. And I don't blame them, because it is pretty annoying to have to have to deal with that. Now, with that being said, I ended up getting an annulment, which was fine. It made it a lot easier, but the emotional pain that I had to go through figuring this all out and not trusting myself, because I just was let down again. I could not trust myself. I cannot believe that I once again chose a partner that was this way. I started drinking. I started drinking a lot, and I started going out a lot, and I started distracting the pain and the hurt that I was going through alcohol. And after a couple of months of doing that, I remember just being in my bathtub and hyperventilating. I was literally hyperventilating and just thinking, like, how did I get here? How did I get here? I am such a good person. I did not deserve any of that shit. And now, like, I felt like it was my first time in my business where it wasn't growing. It was just flatlined. And I understood why, because I was in pain and I couldn't show up the way that I wanted to show up and things like that. So, like, months later, once that happened in the bathtub, my hyperventilation moment, like, something in me or something above me or something beyond me, I can't even explain what it was. It was an energy that I felt, and it was just like, you have to get up. You cannot stay in the state of mind that you're in any longer, basically. Like, you have to get up, you have to save yourself. And I ended up right after building the podcast. I started building something called Wake Up to Level Up, because those were the words that I heard during this little like bathtub experience that I was having. And I decided that I was going to use my pain and turn it into power. And even though I wasn't healed from this entire experience yet, I was going to create something positive out of it. And I was going to have to save myself because I think I was waiting for someone to come save me and to do something for me. And like that was so further like far from the truth. Like I didn't really have anyone there supporting me at that time. I felt so alone going through that. And it was extremely painful, you guys. Like, which is why I self-medicated with alcohol. And it was really, really sad. But, and a huge but, the most amazing things happened since that moment, since that bathtub moment. And it led me to becoming the woman that I am today, somebody that I can be extremely proud of because I know exactly who I am. I know how I am. I know who I am. I know that I'm kind and I know that I am a good ass person and I'm a real person. And sometimes that honesty and that abrasiveness sometimes, or that just no filter kind of thing rubs people the wrong way. And I have to be okay with that because I know that I am just being myself. And so the reason why I just trauma dumped on you guys is because I wanted to share that piece of information and let you know that no matter what happens in your life, no matter how bad things get, no matter how much trauma you've been through, or things that you've gone through, or things that you are currently going through or will go through, if you know that you have your own back, and if you understand that no one is there to save you, you are going to be able to get through anything and you're going to be able to catapult even higher than you could have ever imagined because since then, since experiencing this deep, deep, gut-wrenching pain that I went through during this time, I was able, it's 11/11, you guys, amazing. I was able to turn it around and create something so positive and so meaningful and so powerful because of it. That's when I really started to build my community. That's when I really started to build Beauty Business Babes on Facebook. That's when I really started to do Wake Up to Level Up podcast and really talk about things like this in the open. This is when I really started to create my larger events. Like Wake Up to Level Up was my first event in 2019 that I created, where I had 100 women from all around, the United States. And we even had international girlies coming through and spending a week together or weekend together, being able to empower one another, being able to share each other's mindsets and stories, and just like a lot of love in that room, a lot of support in that room. And I think I couldn't have gotten there so quickly if the shit didn't happen, because things were good for so long before that. Before the shit happened, things were so good, you guys. It was like I felt like I was living my dream. I really did. I had a successful business. It was growing and growing and growing. Like I never imagined it to grow in that way. I was dating my ex-husband, who I thought was like the love of my life. Oh my gosh, I was so obsessed with him, you guys. So obsessed with him. And, I just was very happy. I was living by the beach. I had my salon. I was like doing so well for so long. And then it was interesting because I actually had a friend, Kendall, who is kind of like a psychic and she can kind of tell the future. And she warned me about something that was going to happen. She warned me twice, I remember. And then literally months later, 6 months later or so, I went to the honeymoon in hell. And then that's when all of that shit happened. But it took me a good, I don't know, this all happened. It all kind of came crashing down. I think it was like February, March of 2018. And it wasn't until like October or so that I felt like I had this aha moment of I need to turn my pain into power and nobody's going to be able to save me other than myself. And I realized there was no going back to him. He wasn't coming to me. My family wasn't going to be really there to support me. They lived an hour away. What were they going to do? My friends didn't want to hear about it anymore. Like everybody was just gone and it was just me against myself. And when that realization came through, I realized, because I was about to let go of my business and everything, I was just done with life, really. And so I'm so grateful that I have God. I'm so grateful that I have the universe. And I use those words interchangeably because I do believe it's just this massive energy, right? That's my belief. It's a massive energy. It's beyond me, it's beyond us, and it's in us. It's within each and every one of us, and it's everywhere. And I had that to thank, because without that, I wouldn't be able to have had the strength or the knowing or the feeling or the downloads or the thoughts of being able to move in a way that was going to change the trajectory of my entire life. And that was creating Wake Up to Level Up and the events and connecting with other women who had, just loved me and supported me, and people who listened to my story and could either relate to it or maybe not even relate to it, but support me in the ways that I needed it. And this industry has given me so, so much. But I will say that the reason why I am where I am today is because despite going through that and other hardships as well, I have never given up. I have never given up. I was close. There were a couple times where I was very close, and I thank God in the universe every single day that I did not give up, that I did not give up on my dreams, that I saw the vision, that I held it tight, that I had this own belief system in myself, that I would be able to make whatever it is that I wanted to happen. And I remember when I first put out my first event, Wake Up to Level Up, the first purchaser was somebody from the UK. All right. That changed my mindset on so many things, because I was like, that is not what I expected. I was expecting somebody local to buy their first ticket, or like not even anybody international to come, period. But the fact that she did, I am so grateful for her, because it was kind of like that little like nugget of, you're going in the right direction. You're doing the right thing. So with that being said, I just want you guys to know that if you see the vision for yourself, if you see whatever it is, it doesn't matter how big your goals are. It doesn't matter if nobody believes that you can get there. It doesn't matter if somebody said, don't do it, What matters is that you see the vision for yourself, and that you do not waver from that vision and from that goal, no matter what happens, no matter what diagnosis happens, no matter what trauma happens, no matter who left you, or no matter anything that happens. Like, you might need to take a break like I did, okay? And don't drink yourself to death, because that did not help the situation. And I've learned from that. Trust me, I've gone through a lot of things over the last couple of years. My father dying, my 11-month-old puppy passing away out of nowhere. Didn't drink not even a drop of alcohol. So I've learned to really understand how to process my emotions, like go through them, so that way I can feel everything and really understand what was going on. But I was so immature and naive and in so much pain, and I didn't know what to do back then. So not the right decision, but it's the decision that I made, and I've learned so much from it. But the whole point of me sharing this with you is, I don't want you guys to quit. I don't want you to give up, no matter how hard it gets. Business growth is emotionally hard. I always say that business growth is like right there with your personal growth journey, right? So the more that you grow as a person, the more that you are aware of these things, and you know how to process things, and you can grow through things and understand that everything happens for a reason. Everything is happening for you, right? Every rejection is a redirection into the space that you are meant to be in. Like, understanding that all of this, whatever is happening, is a manifestation of your thoughts and your feelings. And also, in my opinion, it is a form of protection. Like, I do feel, honestly, divinely guided. I feel like I know things. Like, I know in my soul and in my gut something is wrong. And I felt it even with my ex. Like, I didn't have an idea for a long time, but then at some point I was like, I knew it. Like I knew something weird was about to happen. And it's we as women are so intuitive. We a lot of the times are given these gifts of intuition, of knowing, of having an awareness to things. And I think that oftentimes we neglect those little red flags or those little gut feelings that come up. And I think we got to listen to it more. But, the same thing with business. Like, don't allow yourself to get distracted or deterred away from your goal for anything other than yourself. Like if anything happens externally, we give up so easily. We are willing to just like let it all go because, he said, she said, they said, whatever. But what really matters is how are we feeling internally? How are we checking in with ourselves to say, hey, this is something that I want. This is something that I see. This is something that I know in my soul, in my heart that I want to do. And nothing outside of me can change that mindset. Nothing outside of me can change that decision for me. I think having that strength within you is built through having these quote unquote trauma experiences. I think you can go either one of two ways. You can drink yourself to death like I did and stay on that path of just self-medication and not knowing how to get out of that circle or that spiral or that cycle, I should say. Or there's a way of really like catapulting yourself into the next level of being because you've seen the darkness, you've felt the darkness, you know that it exists, and also simultaneously that you can reach for the light and you can get there. And I think having that mindset and knowingness that there is light at the end of the tunnel, if you go towards that way, you can get through literally anything. Business is about being incredibly resilient, especially when you have so much outside noise, distractions, occurrences, things that happen that don't necessarily make your journey easy. They're there for a reason. And it's for you to overcome these obstacles so you can learn and so you can grow and so you can become the best version of yourself, whether that means in a business owner type of way or a mom or a friend or a partner. These things happen, these negative things happen for you to take a look at everything and for you to discern what is truth, what is not truth, and be able to move in a way that is most in alignment with your highest self. So, this is going to be like a little short and sweet episode, but I really hope that this helps because I know that you guys have dealt with a lot in your life. And I know that some of you guys are dealing with a lot in your life right now. And I know that we all will be dealing with stuff in our lives. And you just cannot give up. You cannot give up on your dreams because of it. It's okay to take a break. It's okay to take some time off, but come right back. Like get back up on the horse when you can because that matters. What you want to do matters. Your vision, your goals matter. I love you guys a long time, and I'll see you guys on the next episode.